So, Dave, where do you see the future of AI? It changes so much, it's changing so fast, but what are you seeing in the marketplace right now, and where do you think we'll be in 6 months, at the
Oh
end of the
my gosh.
year? Where do you think we might be next year?
Yeah. I mean, in AI terms, next year is 100 years from now in people terms, right? Our internal development team sprints in 2 weeks. We have 2 week sprints. And when we're developing LC, which is our AI solution, every 2 weeks I see something that absolutely amazes me. And yes, we have phenomenal software engineers, don't get me wrong. But it's because they're utilizing certain open source AI models that have improved that much over the 2 week period of time. I would be lying if I said I knew what it was going to look like in a year or even 6 months from now. I can tell you what I've seen is that these models are self-learning at a pace I don't know if in the beginning a lot of people thought it could, right? Have we gotten to general artificial intelligence? I've seen papers and reports saying, yeah, there have been a couple models getting there, but we're getting closer and closer every second, every minute, every hour. I think AI will become just a part of our lives moving forward. I think if you don't embrace it now, then you're not going to be able to do your job as well as someone sitting next to you, right? Which means you're competing not just for business from a company standpoint, but from your personal situation. That person's going to get a raise. That person's going to get ahead because they're utilizing AI in ways you're not to help them do their job. Do I think AI will replace workers? I do. I do. I think it will. I think it'll replace people who do certain redundant tasks. I can't predict what it will do in the project controls industry, but I can predict that if you're not on board using AI now for your advantage, when the decision comes, do we let AI do these jobs? And they're going to let the folks who have never used AI or not utilizing it properly, they're going to go. But if you know how to use AI and you can teach others how to use AI for a specific type of task or job, you'll have your job and you'll excel and you'll move up and you'll become indispensable, quite frankly. So don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. I'm all in. This is going to sound very geeky, but when I'm off of work, I read everything I can about AI, what's new, and then I test it out across my 6 AI agents that I've set up for myself, right? And I like to see what it can do. And it's changing my life professionally, but also personally, right? I've named my AI agents, that's kind of corny, and I use Chaplin, that's one of mine, one of my favorites, on a regular basis, and we're on a first name basis. So it's getting to that point where it really is an assistant, a coach, a therapist, right? It's all of that at your fingertips. I was telling my staff earlier who do not currently use AI, I said, well, what if I could give you the most respected person in your profession at your fingertips, a therapist at your fingertips, and executive assistants who have access to all of human history's data, knowledge, and papers up to this point, and have limitless access to that, and they can get you anything you need within 10 seconds. Would you take that? And they said, of course. I said, well, that's what AI is right now. Think of it as just a tool, as an assistant, as an artificial person, but they're there to do your bidding. You're not there to do their bidding. They're there to help you. Jump in. The water's fine. That's
Could you describe one of the ways that somebody could use insights and LC to get a competitive advantage when it comes to bid qualifications or the bidding process, schedules, or budgets, forecasts, change orders?
the bid process and the project controls management process, they're separate from each other. And probably the utilization of AI would be utilized, at least at this point in time, very differently. But the data, the compilation of the data, the warehousing of the data, I think you'd be drawing from the same source, right? Because you could, in theory, use AI to look at past proposals, RFPs, RFQs, and do a quick analysis on work and your likelihood to win that work based on your competitive advantages, your unique selling propositions, your capabilities, right? You could use AI to do that. But AI may also, and I haven't seen anybody do this yet, AI may also be able to take not just the top of funnel business win, but all the historic data that once you win a proposal, once you win a piece of business, how did it actually go? Did what was written in the proposal, what was written in the RFP, did that actually occur when you were doing the work? And if so, are there certain things in that RFP that historically always cause you problems, or your suppliers' problems, or your subcontractors' problems, right? If you have that data. AI, in theory, would have the ability to take all of that information and move that forward to the top of funnel and give you some warnings, right? Not just on win ratios and should we bid on this, but if we bid on this, you may want to look at this part of the schedule, because we always have problems with our subcontractors bringing a specific type of material in on time. Right? Therefore, AI could probably even go further and say you may want to add 30% to your bid for this specific section alone, because historically it's caused us problems. Right? And along with that, if you're not going to add 30%, here's probably a way to mitigate those problems. Write that into the proposal as a mitigation strategy, because your customers won't even know that it could potentially be a weakness. And therefore, I guess logically following this rambling thing I'm doing here, allow you to win the bid more because you've put some competitive information in there your competitors would not have had. Yeah.
The other thing that I see the potential of AI to do, especially as a general contractor, is to compile the number of change orders, RFIs, worker productivity, beginning contract values, final contract values for all of the subcontractors that you work with on a regular basis. So you can actually start analyzing internally which ones are the good ones, which ones got done faster, which ones don't ask for 10,000 change orders. That's what I see the power, the competitive advantage of using AI as a general contractor, or even a construction manager who does a lot of CM at risk, to begin to compile that data on the people that they work with in the markets that they work in.
Yeah, again, what AI is made for is browsing through more information and data than the human mind can, very, very quickly, very rapidly finding patterns in there, surfacing those patterns up, and then providing insights and recommendations, and perhaps predictions, right? I think the more data you can throw at AI, if you have it, the better. I also think that it has the capacity to not just look at your data, but if you ask it, and if the data is available anywhere out there, which has to do with the risk of privacy, it can also find maybe perhaps your competitors, because somehow their data is listed out there on the internet, and compare your performance to theirs, right? And have benchmarks. It's limitless. It's whatever you can think up. Throw at it.
I think a good place for especially companies in the construction field, because AI is for anybody. You don't have to be just project managers and project controls or construction or owners that build a lot. But if I were going to counsel somebody on what's the fastest way to see the power of AI, how it can help me get a competitive advantage, I would load all of my safety data, and then I would start asking questions, project-specific questions, market or location-specific questions against that safety statistical data that hundreds of companies have, because safety has been one of the most data recorded activity and process that contractors do on a regular and routine basis. And then ask myself, what's next? What else do I want to look at? And get that kind of great feedback. Is it my estimating department? Is it pre-con?
Yeah.
Or is it schedules? Is it just the budget part? And I think that's really a great place for contractors, especially, and owners that do a lot of capital improvement. If you want to start small and you have no idea where to start small at, safety is going to be the place to start, because you already have years of data to be able to start running predictive analysis on and get really competitive and specific really quick.
I think that's excellent. I would agree with you on that. I think that the part that you touched upon at the end there, which is critical, is asking the agent, once you've trained it a little bit, what am I missing? What else should I look at? You can ask it, it may seem silly at first, what would you look at next if you were me? Because over time it's learning to think like you think, because you're training it. So that's excellent. That's what a lot of people do not do. A lot of people use AI just to ask questions and interrogate data and get a response back, but they never ask AI to go a step further and say, now what next? What kind of results can I get next? Where would you look next? It will tell you, and have absolutely no qualms about doing that.
Yeah. What would you say off the top of your head, if you're working with an AI agent, you've built them, they are your companion, you named it. What are some of the great things about working with an AI companion like that that's different than working with a human? Not necessarily bad or good, or maybe bad and good, but the differences.
AI is not biased. So I've started using AI recently just in my day-to-day work, asking it, am I thinking about this correctly? Please challenge me. Am I doing this properly? Am I managing my team properly? Have I provided the proper instruction? Push me on this. I need to see if there's a different way to think about it. That seems to be, at least over the last 2 weeks, a lot of things I've been reading about AI is that use AI to challenge yourself, to challenge your notions about how you work, about how your company works, about how you interact with employees or customers. Because again, it has all of human history's knowledge at its fingertips within a second. There are other people out there who have already solved this issue multiple times over in creative ways. It will find it and it will come back and it will tell you, here's what I found. You may want to try this. And it does it in an unbiased way. It's not political. It's apolitical. It doesn't have opinions about people, about this person being a bad worker, always coming in late. It doesn't have that. It will just very objectively make you think differently about your job and in the process make you better, make your company better.
Dave, when did LoadSpring start investing in AI and performing some research?
Yeah, great question. So LoadSpring's been around since 1999, so a little over 25 years. As you know, LoadSpring started the whole cloud hosting industry before there was even such a thing as called the cloud. Around 2022, we received a strategic investment from Blattner Technologies, and Blattner Technologies is a vertically integrated AI and machine learning organization. And along with that strategic investment, it opened up our technical folks, our software developers, our software engineers, and the company in general to some of the magic that they were working on right in the beginning of the AI revolution. Due to that investment and our relationship with Blattner Technologies, which has since been rebranded as Superwise, we were able to rapidly get up to speed internally and jump on the AI bandwagon with hundreds of developers who've been doing it already, ripe old age of 6 months, because AI was pretty new back then. Since that time, they do a lot of AI work. That's all they do. So our software developers learn from them all the time. As a matter of fact, Elsie, which is our AI agent, we had that up and developed in 8 weeks. So the Elsie that you know and you've seen Holly in action, ask a question, get an answer on your project data within seconds, both chat, visuals, SQL code, reporting, executive summaries, etc. That was an 8-week process from start to where we are now. And as I said, every 2 weeks we have a sprint where it just gets scary good. We've been, I guess, technically involved in AI since 2022, end of 2022. So we've been doing this for a while when you consider AI hasn't been around a whole lot longer than that. I can talk about BAM, UK Ireland. We recently did a project for them, case studies published on this, where we took, as I mentioned earlier, 3 completely disparate project scheduling applications, P6, Power Project, and Microsoft Project. They had specific reasons why certain operating units contractually had to use those different applications, but they could only get reports on each one. Right? And the data was never clean. So what we did, it was really, really interesting. We took all 3 data sources, we moved each one into a separate data pond. From there, we utilized both straightforward programming as well as the AI logic to get these 3 separate apps, 90% different, only 10% the same, unified and aligned into one giant data warehouse where they could actually just ask the AI chat agent across all of it and their entire portfolio and get one single answer and one single view of their data. Now that was about a 7 or 8 week engagement, and of course it started with a lot of heavy lifting up front. What do you want? What are you trying to get out of this? What type of analysis do you need? Where's the data sitting, right? But they are the first that I know in the industry that's been able to take the disparate data that inherently does not work well together, combine it into one, and then be able to interrogate across all 3 using the same language, the same nomenclature, and their specific way of saying things to extract data. So for example, their Ireland unit and the UK unit asked questions in different ways, just because not the operating units were separate and they asked things differently. So we had to make sure that the AI agent learned their actual language, right?
I want to highlight what you've mentioned it a couple of times about how AI learns, how you talk, how you think, and that's something that's so powerful. A lot of people have experience with, okay, we just bought this new software application and now we have to go train everybody. We have to teach people how to use it, and sometimes that can take years depending on how big your organization is and how big that software implementation was. The power of AI is, yes, there is some training on learning how to use the AI functions or how the data gets shown to you. But while you're learning to use the AI is learning you, and the AI learns so much faster than you do, and it adjusts. And so that curve of interaction and learning how to use it is just a completely different experience than rolling out some new software company wide, and it's so much faster.